My name is Ron Wilstein, and I'm a broker at Keller Williams Luxury Properties Worldwide in Park City, Utah. Thank you for joining me on this brief presentation on how to price your property to sell in today's marketplace. What we want to cover in this webinar is how to determine the right list price for your property. Everyone wants to list their property at the highest possible price, but not so high that it doesn't sell. We're going to take a look at how you go about doing this. There are 4 important steps to determine the right list price when you decide to put your property on the market. The first is to determine the fair market value of your property. Next is the 10% rule, where you want to be careful not to overprice your property, preventing it from selling. Then you want to look at the list to sold ratio currently in the marketplace, which right now in the Park City market is between 94 and 96% of the list price. Finally, you want to look at your desired length of time on the market. So let's look at each one of these. We start with determining the fair market value of your property, and you can do this by inviting a real estate professional to come into your home or your condo, take a look at your vacant land, and evaluate it and pull up past sales of similar properties geographically and based upon the features in your property to determine what its fair market value is. Once you've determined that, you next move on to what I call the 10% pricing rule. Now, this is an important rule because it really makes a difference between a property selling or not selling. An acceptable list price is up to 10% above the fair market value of your property. An unacceptable list price, which results in your property not selling, is more than 10% above the fair market value of your property. Now, I've determined this by looking at what has sold in the Park City and the Deer Valley marketplace. I've been selling properties here for over 25 years, and over the last almost 2.5 years, I've seen a pattern where if you overprice your property by too much, and what I've determined is too much in recent years is over 10% of its fair market value, it simply won't sell. If you price it within 5% or 10% or some number in between that, then it will sell. Now, the chart in front of you right now shows you that if you take the fair market value of your property, you can certainly list there and you're likely to sell it in a short amount of time. Or you can put it a bit higher. That might get you a little bit more money and allow for negotiations. I'm using 5% as an example here, and it will probably take you 2 to 3 months to sell your property. You might sell it right away if there's limited inventory, but that's a good general rule of thumb. If, however, you decide that you're not in a hurry, you want to ask a higher price, if you go up to that 10% value, you'll sell it, but it will take longer to sell in all likelihood. But when you go above that, something magical happens, and the buyer resistance is so strong, the properties just aren't selling in that range. So you don't want to sabotage your intent to sell your property if that's your objective. So you don't want to go too high. That's why this 10% rule is important. Next, we want to look at the list to sold price ratio. Sellers are typically coming off their list price between 4 to 6% during negotiations in order to sell their property. Now, this can change, and this may be specific to a geographical area, but overall for the Park City market, this is true. We're seeing in some regions, some areas, and some condo properties that may be getting down to 3%, in some instances 2%. But typically they're selling about 94 to 96% of their list price. Next, I want to talk about absorption rate. Now, the absorption rate tells us how long it should take for the current inventory of properties to sell in our current marketplace. This is a mathematical formula, but it's logical, and it is an indicator of some important information to take into account. How you go about determining the absorption rate, you want to do 3 things. You want to begin by identifying comparable sold properties. Next, you want to calculate the rate of sales, and then thirdly, calculate the absorption rate. So this is how you go about doing it. You start with the rate of sales, and in order to do that, you divide the number of comparable sales during the past year by 365 days to get the frequency of sales in our current marketplace. Let me give you an example of this. If there were 15 comparable sales during the past year, you divide 365 days by those 15 sales, and it gives you 24.33. That is basically the rate of sale. It is one sale every 24 days. So you get a sense of pace. Some neighborhoods are selling faster, more frequently, others are taking longer. But you want to determine the rate of sale. Next, you move to the absorption rate. And the absorption rate is this mathematical formula where you take the current supply of comparable properties. These are active listings. If you decided to put your property on the market, yours would be added to the list. You multiply it times what you've determined to be the rate of sales over the past 12 months, and that gives you the absorption rate, which is the sold time for the current inventory to be absorbed. In other words, if no new properties come on the market, the number of listings that are on there, it should take X amount of time for the current inventory to be absorbed by the marketplace. So here's an example. Let's say that there's 6 comparable properties listed. You multiply 6 by the 24 that we got on previously when we were looking at the rate of sales. That gives us 144 days for the current inventory to be absorbed. If you divide that by 30, you'll get a monthly rate, in this case 8 months. So the absorption rate, we would say, is there's about a 5-month inventory of comparable properties for sale. Now that's important because when people put their properties on the market, sometimes they have a specific time frame in which to sell their property, other times not, but you want to take that into account. Now that naturally leads into the question, what is your desired length of time to have your property on the market before it is sold? Now, how long do you want to take to sell your property is another way to say it. So you determine this by evaluating the rate of sales. Secondly, evaluate the absorption rate. And thirdly, you just decide how quickly do you want to sell your property. Set your list price based upon your desired length of time on the market after you adjust for the absorption rate, and you'll accomplish the goals within the time frame that works best for your situation. I want to take just a moment before I wrap up this webinar to talk about my force multiplier marketing system. A force multiplier is a military term. It's used to describe the warfare strategy of attacking an enemy through multiple methods, carefully coordinated together to have a devastating effect. In military terms, if you attack by land, you attack by sea, you attack by air, you employ special forces, you employ intelligence, all these elements are coming together and they'll have a greater impact than if you just attack by air or by land or sea. So I believe that you can take proven marketing methods in real estate, combine them together into, in effect, a force multiplier and be much more successful in selling properties. So I've come up with 8 items, 8 proven strategies. They're listed on the screen. Internet marketing, having double multiple listing exposure, 24-hour instant property information, very important in today's age. The use of Park City newsletters that I write, the Keller Williams Luxury Properties Worldwide Collaboration, a team of buyer specialists utilizing real estate webinars, kind of like what you're watching right now, and 3 buyer search websites. This combination of 8 items works very, very effectively to sell properties. You might ask, how effective? Well, if you want, you can get more details on the force multiplier. Simply go to thewilsteinteam.com/force multiplier or /FMMS. And I've put together a webinar there where I describe each of the elements in greater detail and give some examples. And I think it will come together for you if that's of interest to you. It does work very effective. Last year, the average Park City agent sold 1 property every 91 days. So that's an average of 4 properties for the year 2013. Meanwhile, our team sold 43 properties. We were selling, on average, 1 sale every 8 days. So we sell 11 properties for every 1 the average Park City agent sells. So does it work? Yes, it works very, very well. If you'd like more information about the Force Multiplier marketing system, I put it into a magazine I've written called Smart Seller. You can email me at ron@thewilsteinteam.com. Be happy to send you a copy of it, and you can take a look at it. I think you'll find it quite informative. I want to wrap up by just sharing with you how you can receive automatic notifications whenever a property comes on the market in your neighborhood or condominium project. I find that people are very interested in knowing this as property owners. Let me just take you to my website real quickly. Here it is. It's called BuyParkCityRealEstate.com, and you can do wonderful real estate searches there, but you can also just set up some automatic searches so that you can learn what's happening in your neighborhood. And we never call you, it just automatically is emailed to you, and pretty informative. You can ignore it, you can pay attention to it, whatever you want to do. But here's how you would do. From the website, you would go to the tab entitled Search by Subdivisions right here, and you can either type in your subdivision, or I've listed the ones that are in the Park City multiple listing. I'm just going to go down as an example to Pine Brook. If I click on this, it will take me to the page on the website where we tell you a bit about the Pine Brook Marketplace. And you'll see that there's 4 colorful buttons here. The green one is for a webinar specifically updating you about your neighborhood, in this instance, Pine Brook. And it's a short 10 or 12-minute webinar. I update it about every 6 months just to let you know what's happening in your neighborhood. Next, if you wanted to search for homes, you might choose the maroon button. If you wanted to search for condos in that area, the orange one. The one I want to draw your attention to is this blue one, which says send me current sales data on Pine Brook area. Now with this, we can send to you in any area. I'm just giving you an example. But if it was Pine Brook, you would click on it. It would take you to this page which says current sales data request, and all you do is you fill in the information. If it's a condominium name, you would fill in the slot. If it was your particular property, you could type in your address if you wanted to. Identify it as a home or a condo or vacant land, number of bedrooms, and there's pull down menus here that you can choose, number of baths, and then the size of your property. This helps us send you appropriate information for your situation. And then you simply fill in your name, your email address, if your mailing address if you want. If you fill that in, we'll send you periodic newsletters that I write. And if you have very specific questions, in the comment box, just type them out there. We're happy to answer any questions that you have. And then you go to the green button and you hit submit form. It's emailed to me. We'll see what it is. We'll send you the information automatically. And we don't call you, we don't bug you. This is just what we do to provide you with good, relevant information about the Park City Marketplace. With that in mind, just realize that if you're interested in doing that, just do it, or you can call us up and we're happy to assist you with that. If you are thinking about possibly selling your property, we'd love to talk to you. And you can call us. The phone number is right here at the bottom of the screen, as well as my email address. Or you can go to the website. You can go directly to the appropriate page by going to the WilsteinTeam.com /property value, or I'll take you again to the website real quickly and show you where you can find it easily, a form. I'm on the home page, the landing page. It features some of our webinars and other properties that we're listing. Just go a little bit lower and it says learn what your property is worth in today's market. Again, it has a very simple fill-in form, all very self-explanatory. Complete it and go down a little lower. There's some other information. If you're interested in any of it, you just click on whatever you're interested in, and then you hit submit form. Same deal. That will tell us that you're interested in knowing what your property is worth. We'll contact you, arrange a time to see it, and help you out with that information. So good, helpful information, easy to come by. So with that in mind, I just want to remind you, if you have any questions, you can call or email us. I'm happy to answer them. And if you want to call back, just let me know what time is most convenient, and I will accommodate your preferred schedule. So with that in mind, thank you very much for watching this webinar, and we're here to assist you in any way that we can. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.